Yes, very important. Yeah. Okay, so honouring yourself. It's very interesting how when we think about a spiritual life, we think it's about giving up things. It's about sacrifices. It's about, putting my needs before others, right? Kind of thing. But maybe it's about giving to you. Maybe it's about not giving things up. Maybe it's about enriching your life. Maybe it's not about taking things away that really make you feel good about yourself. You have to be careful, because I think sometimes we fall into this idea about, I'm a spiritual person, I have to be such and such, and I don't do that. I don't eat meat. I don't drink alcohol. I don't get angry. I don't yell. There's all these pressures, right? A lot of pressure. And maybe for you, being spiritual is about just being who you are. Maybe putting in those limitations, maybe you're not ready for that yet. Maybe you're not ready, to kind of starting to do this process of taking away, taking away all these things, all these ideas or whatever. That's why you have to be in charge of this process, right? That's why you need to be integrated. Because you won't really be able to make a good decision about a question like that, for instance, right? How much should I give up? How much should I take away? How much should I keep? It seems like a simple question, but it could make all the difference between being sane and not being sane as a spiritual practitioner. Then you'll just be walking around as a cranky practitioner, right? Or maybe you're cranky just under the surface, you know what I mean? And just anything will set you off. And that's not good either, right? Yeah. You have to honour who you are, which changes moment to moment, right? It changes moment to moment. Like I always say, it can be a good day, it can be a bad day, it can be a good 5 minutes, it can be a bad 5 minutes too, right? It can go down to the minute category too, right? Like when you're in crisis, it does come down to a minute category. It can be a good minute and it can be a bad minute, right? And you're just going from minute to minute, right? And that's perfectly fine to do that, right? And so everything has to be flexible. You cannot put in these limitations and make them fixed. That's unhealthy, right? It's got to flow with you. This is integration, right? It's got to flow with you. Wherever you go, it moves, right? As you expand, it expands. As you contract, it contracts. Does that make sense? Yeah? Those rules and limitations, you know, about how you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to be, you know? And that means you really have to be in touch with yourself. And you really have to be okay with whoever you are in the moment. So, you know, maybe in the moment you're an angry person. The first thing you got to do is just be present to that. Okay, that's what's happening for me, right? And just allow that experience to unfold for you, you know. And then when you kind of know where you're at, then you adjust all the ideologies about who you are, what you are, and what you're supposed to be doing. You know, so if anger is happening, maybe not a good day to go and see such and such a person. You know what I mean? Or maybe not a good day to go and have that meeting or something, you know. And you really have to honor that. And honouring that may mean saying to your boss, if you work, for instance, I can't have that meeting today. I have to change it. That's the extent that honouring should happen at, right? That's why I think honouring is a good word. There shouldn't be any, like, it should be very black and white, you know. It shouldn't be, I'll honour myself to this point, you know, like, I'll give myself this much, you know what I mean? Because that's all we can afford to do today, you know. It needs to be the other way around. Yeah. And so another word that came up for me was acceptance. You know, I love this word, acceptance. It's like, you know how Kubler-Ross came up with the, you know, the different states that you go through before you reach acceptance? Well, we all know they exist, right? The anger, the denial, you know, the grief, and then finally, you know, the acceptance, right? So honouring yourself is about acceptance too. Accepting what has happened for you. You know, generally, when you meet a strong emotion, right, something has happened for you, right? Whether it's a thought, or someone yelled at you, right, or something was taken away from you, or anything, right? Or something has happened for you, right? And there'll be this kind of, you know, resistance about what just happened, you know. But as you experience whatever your reaction to it is, the more you allow yourself to experience whatever reaction you're having, the greater the potential there is for you to get to this state of acceptance, right? And the reason why you want to get to a level of acceptance is because it's not until you get to that level of acceptance that you're able to move on. But what generally happens is we just move on before we're ready, right? We soldier on. Before we're ready, before we've got to that level of acceptance. And then we walk around with this resentment, right? Or we walk around with angst, or we walk around with distress, you know, and we hold it. We hold it in, and it's very disturbing for the whole being, for the psyche, to do this, right? So we need to give ourselves the space and time to get to this level of acceptance, right? How do you know when you're there? Is it when you stop crying? No, it's not. The crying shifts, the crying changes, for sure. But, what do you think? When you get to that level of acceptance, what happens?
Joy. Maybe a level of joy.
Could be joy. Yeah.
Relief.
Relief. Yes, relief is good. Relief's a good word. Relief, why? Why is there relief?
I think for me, well, the acceptance level, yeah, I feel like I accept it and I'm relieved and I can move on.
Mm-hmm.
So letting go.
I was thinking it might be a little bit like what you said at the beginning, your practice and how you know you observe it from outside, maybe, the whole experience. So observing it from outside rather than being in it and noticing that you're there.
Yeah. 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 There's relief because you're no longer fighting. Right? You're no longer fighting with this thing. Fighting the grief. I don't want to be sad. Why is this happening? Why can't it be different? You know? I wanted this so bad. Now it's gone. It's this fighting, you know? Fighting what's happened. And you've got to fight it. It's almost as though you have to fight it until you've lost all strength to fight anymore. Sometimes it can be that way. You've allowed yourself to intellectualize the process so much that you've driven yourself crazy. And you just go, what the heck, I don't care anymore. You know? And then finally you can like breathe and you're like, ah. And there's this moment, you know, where you're just like, okay. You know? It's quiet. In there. Finally. You know? And then you can actually like integrate, you see? There's some level of integration that's happening.